Hello and welcome to this new episode of Open Book Entrepreneur. Today we have an amazing guest. Sarah helps therapists build meaningful, sustainable careers so that they can continue changing lives without losing themselves in the process. So, Sarah, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. Hello, my name is Sarah Schub. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I run a group practice in Massachusetts, and we provide support for 11 therapists. And our core mission is to help clinicians navigate care, and we take care of them so that they can take care of their clients.
Wonderful. So, you mentioned also before when we were talking that you started your private practice back in 2013. So, what originally led you into private practice?
I remember when I was in graduate school and I was working at a clinic. I was advised by my supervisor to go into a children's home and do in-home therapy. I'm an art therapist, so it was very common for me to go into a home and do art therapy with a child. The previous therapist had actually warned me not to go to that house. And I had said, I'll just try it, see what happens. And my supervisor had also said that. Just see what happens. And I went in. The child had a diagnosis of autism, but what I did not know was that the child was being evaluated for psychotic features or psychosis and potentially some schizophrenia. So I'm not saying every child has the right to care. Every child has the right to support. I just don't know if that was the best setting to provide counseling at that time. So we were in the middle of our first session together and we were coloring. And out of the blue, this young man, we were really quiet for quite some time. He grabbed my hair, pulled it out, put it in his mouth, bit me, punched a wall, and threw a TV. I ran out of the house. The parents were there. The mom was very apologetic. And I called my supervisor. We debriefed the next day. And the first question the supervisor asked me is, when are you going back? And from that really stuck with me because from that moment on, I realized clinical care matters, but safe clinical care is the most valuable tool a clinician can have. So about several, 2 or 3 years ago, I was interested in starting a nonprofit organization. And in the midst of that, I decided to pivot and I'm doing a group practice. But our group practice is called Creative Art Therapies and Wellness. Our sole mission is to provide clinicians with safe, supportive care. That's the motive. Like that's our whole mission is if the clinician is healthy and supported, the client will get great care.
Exactly. So you shared this powerful story with us, and can you tell us, please, why that story or why that moment stayed with you?
I think that in this day and age, especially with healthcare, nurses, ER workers, therapists, occupational therapists, physician's assistants are not being heard and they're being underpaid and undervalued. I really believe that when we give just acknowledgement of other people's pain, suffering, and growth and achievements and have that human connection and that intimacy in terms of supporting one another, it's electric. The great things that we can do when we work together and support one another from a positive place, that's what stuck with me is that I didn't feel valued, I didn't feel heard, and I felt very isolated. And that was very much exacerbated by COVID. And so this model is hoping creating a community of professionals that can provide care because they're cared for.
Exactly. And do you think that mental health industry is maybe going backwards at the moment?
Yes, yes, I do. I believe that insurance companies dictate um, how therapists are paid. There's a huge movement right now for insurances to do what's called clawbacks. So even when clinicians provide great care, insurances will try to find a way to save money by auditing clinician charts. And if they find one small thing that doesn't align with what they're auditing at that time, and it changes every time. That's the crazy part, is that we just adjusted our treatment plans and our notes to reflect exactly where the client is receiving telehealth. Is it Zoom HIPAA compliant? Is it Simple Practice? Is it DoxyMe? Is it Psychology Today? Because they're going to start tracking us. And I also think that when the clinicians burn out, they either leave the profession or provide poor care. So when we switch the model, flip the table, right? When we change the game and make the therapist important, and it's not about productivity for the therapist or the provider, when it's about quality care, when it's about feeding our clinicians. Literally today is Takeout Tuesday at Creative Art Therapies. Every week we order food together and we break bread. And we don't always talk about our clinical cases. We just get to be human with each other. And there's not a lot of space in healthcare that allows people to just be seen right now. We're not machines, we're human first.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talk about like building clinical first practice, being human first. What does that actually mean?
Okay. I just met with a clinician 10 minutes before our session. I mean, before our interview. She said, I think I have an emergency with a client. And I said, okay, is it a safety issue? She said, yes. I said, do you have a client waiting right now? And she said, yes. And I said, so what we're going to do is we're going to have our front office cancel your next appointment after this one. You see this client, they're waiting. Cancel the next appointment, reschedule them for later this week, or I'll see them, but they'll see the other therapist later this week. But let's attend to you first. So she and I, while Takeout Tuesday is occurring, she and I will spend some time together discussing the safety risks of this case, how I can support her, and I'm going to provide her with supervision. And we're going to make a safety plan so that this young person is safe. All of the needs are met. My clinician's needs are met. We put her first. We don't wait until the end of the day.
Exactly. And do you believe that when clinicians are supported, clients actually receive better care?
100%, 1,000%. Imagine her going the rest of this day worrying about how to connect with me, moving quickly. I believe great decisions are made when we slow down and we look at all of our options, what she needs, how to take care of her. Then we can come up with a very strategic plan that benefits the client. And we do research. We look at what's going to best help her, what is going to best keep the client safe. And really, it's not that big of a safety issue. I'm going to be honest with you, it's not. It's really about making sure that the parents are communicating with each other to provide appropriate care. And because they're divorced. But my clinician thinks that that's a big deal. And I want to make sure that we honor that because it is to them.
Definitely. So what makes creative art therapies and wellness different from a traditional group therapy practice?
I believe, we focus a lot on the therapist first. And we are somewhat selective of who we invite into our practice because we want folks who are going to rally for the team. This is a we, it's not an I. A lot of group practices, people come in, they get 60% of whatever they bill and they're out, right? There isn't a larger movement where our creative art therapies is focused on clinical excellence. We provide mentorship, we provide supervision. We connect a therapist with another therapist as soon as they're hired, with an older therapist who's been here for a few years so that they can ask silly questions, right? We want this to be big and we want this to grow intentionally, thoughtfully. We have 4 people who are interviewing with us over the next week. There's a reason for that. It's because I like to swear, so I'm not going to, but we provide excellent care for clinicians. And if we get it wrong, we want to make it right.
Great. So one of your goals is to hire exceptional therapists and develop them into leaders. What kind of what kind of clinician is the right fit for your model?
Someone who's hungry, someone who wants to grow, someone we I made this practice so that I can leave it in the hands of my fellow clinicians. We have a leadership course that's coming up in the fall. It's a 6-month course, 6-month course, where we are going to invite clinicians to the table to be leaders. And then I step away several years from now. But this model needs to function with intention of what we set it up to be. But if we don't teach our leader or my clinicians are not mine, first of all, but I treat them like my children. I'm like Molly Weasley from, Gryffindor. I will fight for them, I will advocate for them, and you know, I will push them because I think that they can. And in a world right now that is so isolated, we cannot do this by ourselves. So the perfect person for us is either unlicensed or licensed, but hungry and does the right thing and always assumes best intent with their collaborators, with their peers, that we're going to lift each other up. We don't have room for folks who are going to talk negatively about each other. That's not the space. We don't have the energy for that. We have the energy for growing something really amazing, and that's exciting. We don't have excitement for negativity.
Great. So what change would you love to see in the mental health care industry over the next few years?
I would love and I would welcome conversations from insurance companies to reduce the cost for small group practices to provide health insurance at a reasonable cost. We're doing something really amazing, but a lot of therapists cannot work in private practice without a dual income from their partner or from a spouse or loved one. It's very, very expensive. And I also am very floored with the fact that Aetna recently just, had an agreement with a therapy platform, and they were paying great rates, and then suddenly they cut that rate significantly. So you were allowed to bill for a 60-minute session. Aetna no longer wants you to bill for 60 minutes. They're only paying you for 45. So you can see the client for 60 minutes. You're just not going to get paid for it. Now, what about that is quality care? I feel like the work that we do is dictated so much by money and insurance. And I could go into private practice and just do cash model, but the people in Western Massachusetts really heavily rely on benefits of their insurance. So it's not for me. I don't want to yuck someone's yum. So if somebody else is just taking cash, I respect that. I don't know if I would feel comfortable doing that 100%.
Absolutely. So where can people connect with you, learn more about creative art therapies, and or maybe explore opportunities to work with you?
Okay, so if you look at www www.creativearttherapies.com, you can become a client and you can also apply to work with us. And our number to reach us is 413-285-2414. And our wonderful admin is Annie. So it's ANNIE at creativearttherapies.com.
Wonderful. Everyone watching us, you can actually check out those links, emails, and phone number in the description of this episode. We'll include it there as well. And yeah, if you have any questions for Sarah or me, you can ask them in the comments. And then on top of that, Sarah, it was so amazing to have you on as a guest. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for sharing those tips. And yeah, thank you all for watching, listening to this episode. If you like it, drop us a like, subscribe, and see you all in the next episode. Sarah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tony.